Okay, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're alive.
A budding star.
Yeah,
It's only a matter of time for you.
Bezrat Hashem. Okay, so we're in Likutei Moharan, Torah Dalid, Ot Chet. Wonderful. Rabbi Nachman is explaining this Torah now. He's going to fit it into this Gemara, Mesechet Sota, about the certain metaphor about somebody that was he was walking a certain path in the dark of night, and he was afraid of bumping into thorns or falling into a ditch or wild animals, coming across wild animals or bandits. And he also didn't know what was the right direction. So he has a bunch of problems. And at one point he gets a torch, and the torch helps him that he shouldn't fall into ditches and that he shouldn't be bump into any thorns. But he's still afraid of the wild animals and bandits. What's the torch going to help for that? And then when it comes morning, so the bandits, they don't do their work in the light.
It's a night job.
It's a night job, and the wild animals also they don't go out looking for people at that time, and it's easy to stay away to be saved from them. But he still has the problem that he doesn't know what's the right direction. And finally, he comes to the crossroad, what's it called? Intersection.
The crossroads, yeah. Or the intersection.
And he has a sign that points him in the right direction, and at that point he is saved from all of the above problems. And so we're going to see what this. So the Gemara says that this last point where he's saved from all the problems is referring to a Talmid Chacham. It's referring to a Talmid Chacham on the day that he passes away. Okay, so that's the time when a person is saved from all, because the Talmid Chacham, he was saved from all the previous problems, and he also now knows which way he's going, because when a person is alive, a person has the challenges every day, and the Gemara teaches us a person should not trust in himself for overcoming the Yetzer Hara until the day a person passes away. A person needs to constantly be on the lookout, on guard.
Vigilant.
A person has to be vigilant and prudent and on guard to be safe, to overcome the Yetzer Hara. There's actually somebody posted last week a beautiful piece from the Baal Shem Tov that to me was a big chiddush. That the Baal Shem Tov, the Talmidim asked the Baal Shem Tov about a certain tzaddik that they were going to go visit. How do we know if he's a real tzaddik? So the Baal Shem Tov said to ask him how to overcome the strange thoughts, inappropriate thoughts.
Right, foreign thoughts, right? Yeah.
And if he tells you how you can overcome them once and for all, so then he's not a real tzaddik. Right. Because it's something that is constant work. A person has to constantly work on keeping your focus in the right place, in the right way, and purifying your thoughts and healing yourself, being healed and elevating the bad midot and the bad machshavot, the machshavot zarot and all that. So
because the Yetzer Hara is adaptable, right? Infinitely adaptable.
The Yetzer Hara is
always looking for another way, right?
And the Yetzer Hara there's a new Yetzer Hara every day. There's a famous piece in Eitz Chaim from the Arizal that he brings from the Zohar. He says, based on the Zohar, that the whole story of Yaakov stealing the brachot from Esav happens every day. That is something that's recurring in Shamayim. Yaakov stealing from the brachot instead of Esav. Esav being the angel of being the Yetzer Hara. Esav is the angel of Esav, which is the Yetzer Hara, the Malach HaMavet, the angel of death. That's the angel of Esav. And every day Yaakov steals the shefa, the brachot, the blessings, and he gets it instead of he outwits the Malach HaMavet, and he gets these blessings. So the Mefarshim ask on the place, in Eitz Chaim, they say, I don't understand. Well, he doesn't remember from yesterday. He doesn't remember what Yaakov did to him yesterday. So how
is he not learning anything?
How is he fooled every day? So there are two answers. One answer is that the whole essence of the Yetzer Hara and the Malach HaMavet, that energy is an energy of confusion that does not have memory. And so that's forgetfulness. And that's why memory, zikaron, is something that comes from dat. And they are completely void of dat. And that's why, yes, the answer is correct. He doesn't remember from one day to the next, and he doesn't even remember from one moment to the next, right? And everybody knows this experience, right? Where the Yetzer Hara, when a person has a foolish ruach shtut that overcomes a person, doesn't matter what a person was doing at the beginning of the day, a person can chas v'shalom fall. And that's why a person has to be prudent and on guard and always be aware not to fall and not to go down the wrong path. And, so that a person shouldn't all of a sudden find himself in a place where he doesn't want to be. Be aware which path you're going in. At the beginning, it's much easier to turn away and to go back. That's the one answer. The other answer is, the second answer is based on the Gemara that says the Yetzer Hara mitchadesh al adam, Yetzer Hara mitchadesh alav b'chol yom. Every day the Yetzer Hara renews himself. V'ilmalei HaKadosh Baruch b'chol yom mitchadesh ha'Yetzer Hara v'ilmalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu ozro eno yacholo. And if it weren't for the fact that Hashem is helping a person every day, then it's not possible. Because how is it possible? Everything that you've known up until now in your life to overcome the Yetzer Hara will not really help you next to the Yetzer Hara for the Yetzer Hara that will be new today. There's a new challenge. So how are you supposed to overcome it? So if it wasn't for Hashem helping you, and this goes right into what we were speaking about yesterday, that even spiritually, all the ishtadlut in the world that you do spiritually, at the end of the day, only what will help you is Hashem deciding to help you, is Hashem's compassion, infinite compassion in helping you. And so that's the second answer. The second answer is that the Esav that was overcome and outwitted by Yaakov yesterday is not the Esav to today. Every day there's a new Yetzer Hara, there's a new Esav.
Nice. Okay.
But on the last day of a person's life, right, the Talmid Chacham on the last day, so now at this point he knows which way he's going. He's confident. Sure. I live my life in this way, and I know which way I'm going. Bezrat Hashem, hopefully that should be us. Bezrat Hashem, we should know. After 120 years, after 180 years, Bezrat Hashem, we should know.
Amen.
Bezrat Hashem, which way we're going, and Hashem should guide us in the right way. So now let's see how Rabbi Nachman, he fits this Torah in this Gemara. He says, it is known that all of the negative, evil, destructive character traits and all the derivatives of those character traits, because, for example, we said that there are 4, in Masechet Baba Kama speaks about there are Arba Avot Nezikin. There are 4 fathers of damages that a person can do. Why is it called fathers? So fathers means that there are derivatives. Fathers is like the source. There are 4 main categories, father categories, source categories, of the types of damages that a person can incur on someone else. Is that how you say it? Incur? Or cause somebody else?
When you say on somebody else, they're doing to someone else? Or Yeah, so impose on somebody else.
Impose on someone else. But it's really like what a person can cause somebody else through his animal. So there's the animal eating from someone else's field. There's when a person makes a pit in the Rishut Rabim and he doesn't cover it and someone falls in. So so it's inadvertent cause. Yeah.
What? It's inadvertent. In other words, it's not necessarily deliberate. You didn't set out to cause that effect, but you were unconscious, and the effect was possible. It was there in potential, and it happens. But I guess it would be accurate to say that 4 ways a person can cause damage.
And there are derivatives of these. So Rabbi Chaim Vital in his Sha'arei Kedusha, where the whole beginning of the Sefer is speaking about tikkun, rectifying a person's character traits, he says that the 4 elements that we said, if they are used, those human needs, if they are used in the wrong way, if they are focused in the wrong way, if they are fulfilled in the wrong way, so then they're destructive and they become those 4 elements, 4 different types of bitterness, right? Arba marot. We spoke about the white bitterness, the green one, the red, and the black. Those correspond to the fire, wind, water, and earth.
Right.
So Rabbi Chaim Vital, he calls them Arba Avot Nezikin. He calls these 4 destructive character traits the fathers of damages, the father categories of damages, and he says each one of them has a derivative. So just a quick example. For example, the first element, the element of fire, which is the need of significance, rising above everyone else. Oh, how am I significant and better and worthy, etc. So if a person uses that in the wrong way, it becomes the father category of that destructive force is gava. It's pride, right? And the derivative of that, says Rabbi Chaim Vital. So since it's a father category, it's called a father. Michlal de yesh banim, like the Gemara says. If it's called a
children,
father, it must have children. So what's the derivative of that? It's anger, says Rabbi Chaim Vital. Anger comes from pride. You know, you're better than everyone else. This shouldn't be happening to me. I shouldn't be treated this way. Entitlement and all that, right? So that's what brings anger to a person. And then he goes through each one of them. What's the father and what are the derivatives? For depression, he says, for earth, he says the father is depression. It's a lack of happiness, apathy, and the derivative of that is laziness. So when a person is lazy, don't beat yourself down and say, "Oh, I'm so lazy," and this, because that's even worse. Because the reason why you're lazy is because you're not finding happiness and pleasure. You have a lack of happiness. It's depression. That's what brings laziness. It's like apathy, basically. It's like apathy.
Yeah. Don't care.
Yeah. So anyways, so why did I say this? So this is what Rabbi Nachman is going to speak about now. These 4 destructive father categories that have all these derivatives also, but he's going to focus on the 4 elements being used in a destructive way, and they become 4 bitter types of bitterness, and they are all the 4 destructive character traits.
So in relation to this particular muscle, right?
Yes. זה ידוע שכל המידות רעות בתולדותיהם נמשכים מ4 יסודות, מ4 אמרות כמובן במשנת חסידים, עצבות ותולדותיהם נמשכים מדומם. Depression and all of the derivatives of depression, like we spoke about, laziness, etc., are drawn from the element of domem, which is the inanimate objects, because we have the 4 different parts of the universe, of reality, of creation, not reality, of this world, of the creation in this world, that correspond to and represent these 4 elements. The inanimate is the earth, the plant life is the water, the animal life is wind, and the humankind is which is the medaber, the ones that speak, are representing the fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so he says like this: all of the destructive passions and lusts of a person of the animal self and their derivatives are drawn from the animal life, right, the vegetable life, which is, as we said, water. The speaking words that are shtuyot, that are, words that have no purpose.
Yeah, they translate it here as idle chatter.
Idle. What does idle mean?
Kind of useless, meaningless.
Useless. Good.
Useless.
Meaningless and useless.
Just there to pass time.
Yeah.
They don't mean anything.
Yeah, meaningless chatter, idle chatter, and also destructive speech, which is lashon hara and all that.
Right.
So, and all of the derivatives that come from that are all drawn from the chai, which is animal, the animal state, the animal life, and that represents the wind. And that's why it's wind, because wind is the ruach, the power of speech. So remember that. That's the connection to wind. Pride and all of its derivatives are drawn from the human form, the human life. the humankind, which is representing fire, and fire always rises above everything else. It's the element that rises above everything in the physical world. It's like the gas. Also, gas always rises. Heat rises, right? Fire is always the element that rises. ומי שרוצה ללך בדרך הקודש צריך לשבר כל המידות רעות ויספר לפני התלמיד חכם, היינו וידוי דברים, והתלמיד חכם יפרש ויברר לו דרך לפי שורש נשמתו. Someone wants to go on the way and the path of holiness, he needs to break, he needs to rid himself, release, and rectify these destructive character traits, and he needs to speak the confession in front of a Talmid Chacham, a spoken confession, and the Talmid Chacham will explain to him and clarify to him the proper path according to his Shoresh Neshama, according to the source of his Neshama. What is his tikkun? ויש שלוש בחינות בהתקרבות לצדיקים, שעל ידי שלוש בחינות אלו נתקן הכל, ואלו מהשלושה בחינות. He says that when a person connects to a tzaddik, there are four parts, the four aspects in that connection, in that relationship with the tzaddik, and each one of there are three aspects in that relationship with the tzaddik, and each one of these three aspects will rectify a different part of the character traits and the neshama of a person. And now he's going to outline them. הבחינה הראשונה, כשרואה את הצדיק. The first aspect is when you see the tzaddik, just seeing the tzaddik. כמו שכתוב, והיו עיניך רואות את מורך, your eyes will see your teacher, וזאת הבחינה מבטלת המידות רעות הנמשכים, משני היסודות דומם צומח. This aspect rectifies the two elements, the destructive character traits that come from the two elements of inanimate and animal life, which is earth and water. By the way, I'm just going to say this now. In another place in the Likutei Moharan, Rabbi Nachman says on this pasuk that he quoted, "V'hayu enecha ro'ot et morecha," your eyes will see, should gaze upon your teacher. He says that when you see a tzaddik, it helps you overcome all of your destructive character traits. So over there he says all of them. And he says that's hinted in this pasuk. Why? Beautiful. He says, look, what's the Rashi Tevot? What's the first letters of the four words? Einecha ro'ot et morecha. Einecha ro'ot et morecha means your eyes gazing at your teacher, right? At the tzaddik. So what are the four letters that begin these words, these four words? Ayin, Resh, Aleph, Mem. So Rabbi Nachman says that's an acronym for the four elements. Ayin is Afar, Resh is Ruach, Aleph is Eish, and Mem is Mayim.
How about that?
Nice, huh?
Nice little memory aid, yes.
Yeah. So, but here he says that it just the seeing, when you just look at the tzaddik, that helps you overcome the destructive character traits from the two lower elements.
Does he say that that's where he derived that understanding from the fact that those four words together, that the first initial?
He never says no. He never says that.
Say that he draws.
He never says that actually. Rabbi Nachman actually, I think in Chaim Moran, he says that everything that he revealed, he got from above, almost like a download, like a spiritual hasaga, some sort of prophecy, and then he went and found how you find it in the Torah in order to give it over. He clothed it in the Torah. So there's actually a place in the Likutei Moharan where he has a whole explanation about something, and then he says, however, I wasn't able to find a place, a pasuk that I
support this, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
nice.
Yeah, so then what's good about that, the way that he explains it, is that therefore you can't really argue.
Right.
Because
what can you
can't say, oh, I don't agree, that's not a proof.
Yeah, right.
He's not bringing it as a proof.
You didn't hear that.
He's telling you the way it is.
Right.
And you should know that, you can find a hinted to and alluded to in this pasuk to help you, to help you to grasp it somehow.
Right.
He also said that when he receives this, everything that he gave over in the Likutei Moharan, when he receives it in a way that's so tremendously transcendent and so high that it's extreme. There's tremendous effort that goes into and clothing it thousands and thousands of levels from one metaphor to another until finally he could give it over these downloads, these understandings in a physical Torah, in something.
Because what? Because it's not comprehensible at the level he receives it.
Yes, because he received. Well, for him it is, but
too much for the vessel.
It's for him it's in such a transcendent way, so spiritual that we would not be able to grasp it on that level. And for him, it's tremendous level effort for him to finally be malbish to it and clothe it in so many different metaphors, one after the other, until finally we have it here on the page in the way that we're able to grasp it somehow.
Right. Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and then we come when we learn Likutei Moharan, and we think that Likutei Moharan is so transcendent and so deep and so high, we don't realize that this is the lowest level next to the way Rabbi Nachman got it.
It's interesting because, coincidentally, I was learning, Tanya this morning, and so I was listening to Manas Friedman do a shir on Tanya.
Yeah.
And he's using this sort of thing as a metaphor for, the concealment, the tzimtzumim and so on that Hashem used. That effectively...
Actually, as I was saying that,
you were
remember that Tanya. I was thinking about that Tanya. The Tanya says that the Chachma, which is for us, like the highest level, for us, it's not even Asiya. It's not even the level of action.
Right. Okay. How about that? I'm feeling good about myself. That I'm getting to the level where now occasionally
things
I'm going to have
connecting.
something that I'm having something that's going to connect to something
Baruch Hashem, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I learned a few more things, and Gaiva is right around the corner.
Gaiva is always here. It's
always right. It's always right. It's always right around the corner.
It's here the most. The Gaiva is mostly here when we think that it's not here.
That's true. Yeah, I hear it.
At least when we're aware that it's here, But
it's a very, very good point.
When we think that we got a break, that's when it's the most here.
Yeah, no, and if unfortunately it reveals itself in hindsight after you did the stupid thing.
Yeah.
So when you look back on it and say, "What was? Oh, you got to be kidding!"
That's how it is at the beginning. Eventually, we'll come to a point where, well, hopefully, it won't just be in hindsight. Although that the Baal Shem Tov's last words were the pasuk in Tehillim where David HaMelech is praying to Hashem to Al tivoini regel gava. Don't bring me to any pride and gava. And Arizal, his last words was the same prayer, but he was saying it in Ladino, which was what the Sephardim, the language that the Sephardim was. So, by the way, that's a good proof to what Rabbi Nachman says, that you should do your personal prayer in your own language.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
What I did there?
Yeah. It's very nicely done.
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff.
All right. So let's just finish this paragraph. So it saves a person, just saying that tzaddik saves a person from the destructive character traits that come from the first two elements, which is what we said, depression and all of its derivatives, and also the lusts and desires of the animal self and all of those derivatives. And now he's going to explain why. He says why. He says because the tzaddik is considered the mother. Why is he considered the mother? Because he nurses all of Am Yisrael. He nurses us into life. Kabbalistically, every partsuf, every world, when it goes, the process of that world, that partsuf, that person, that entity, going from its first form of creation, its form of pregnancy, of being an embryo, to its complete maturity of mochin, it has to go through a process of yanika. Yanika is the nursing period. It's the nursing, and that's when that child or that form of potential is nursed into the potential being revealed in actuality, in manifestation, the complete manifestation of that self. So that's called nursing. And the tzaddik is the one that nurses us. He brings us to that level of maturity of consciousness, maturity of mochin, the highest state of manifestation of our neshama. And so that's why he's called the mother, because he's nursing us.
Right.
Okay. So
Yes.
Hashem Shu Menik L'Yisrael Be'or Toratu. How does he nurse us? With the light of his Torah. The Torah Nikret Chalav, and the Torah is called milk. As it says in the pasuk in Shir Hashim, as it says in Shir Hashim, honey and milk is under your tongue. It's referring to the Torah. So now that we have established that the tzaddik is the mother who nurses us to the mature mochin, the complete mochin, so now we know from a physical understanding, the way it works in the physical world, and this will be a metaphor, that when the baby is in apathy and in laziness, and the baby sees its mother, right away, what is awakened, that apathy and that laziness, or depression or sadness even, it falls away, and the baby is awakened with tremendous excitement to go to jump in his mother's arms. So he says the same thing with the tzaddik. When you see the tzaddik, who is your mother, so the element of laziness, apathy, sadness falls away, and the neshama right away is awakened with that excitement to jump in your mother's arms, in the tzaddik's arms, to connect to the tzaddik, which is your source, like the mother is the source of the baby. גם אנו רואים בחוש כשהתינוק עוסק בדברי שטות שלו, אף על פי שיש לו תאווה גדולה לזה. So that's the element of earth. Now what about the element of water, the animal life? He says, also we see when a child is, when a baby is involved in foolish toys or whatever, which is a tava, it's a desire of the animal self. Even if he's involved in playing with his toys and whatever, if he sees his mother at that point, he will throw the toys aside, and he will and he will go towards his mother. Nimtzah, so we see also that this element of water is rectified also through seeing the mother, which is the tzaddik who nurtures us. Nimtzah shenitbat lina midot ra'ot shel shnai yesodot domem tzomeach chay u'medaber. Domem tzomeach, the two elements of inanimate and plant life, which is, as we said, earth and water, is rectified al yidei istaklut pnei tzaddik, through gazing at the tzaddik. And let me just finish these next also few lines. V'zeu mityareh min hakotsim, and this is hinted to in the metaphor that when it says he's afraid of the thorns. Shu bechinat someach. The thorns is the animal life, right? It's a plant. I'm sorry, the thorns is the plant, which is the water. Ufchatim, the ditches, is in the inanimate. Shu bechinat domem, which is earth. And those are the two elements that are rectified. When he gets the torch of light, which is who? The tzaddik, the Talmid Chacham. The Talmid Chacham, shu avik be'or Torah. The Talmid Chacham, he's so attached to the Torah, and attachment is also the word that is used to describe attachment is the word avik, which has the same. It sounds like the same word as avuka, which is a torch. So that's the drasha that he's making here. The Talmid Chacham is attached to the light of the Torah, and through the Talmid Chacham he is saved from the two, the destructive character traits that come from the two elements of domem and someach, inanimate and plant. And then he's saved from the thorns, plant, and the ditches, which is the inanimate, the earth and water. Okay.
Very cool. Yes.
We'll continue tomorrow.
We will do that.